Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Corner HVAC. I'm glad you joined me today. I've got a short video or a how-to or tip, however you want to look at that. But before I get into that, I want to say thank you to all the subscribers, all the people that like and share, and all the comments I get. I get to talk to people all over the place with this, and I think it's great. If I can help in any way, please hit me up in the comments, and I would love to answer any questions that you have. So I do a lot of that. I've met a lot of cool people out there in a lot of different places. So I think that's awesome. But if you are not subscribed, go ahead and do so now. Or at the end of the video, you can hit subscribe. Also, go ahead and share it, like it, and share it with a friend, because sharing with a friend is always just the right thing to do. So as far as the video itself, what I wanted to talk about today was something that I find so minor, but it's because I'm used to it. It's because it's something that I do every day. There's things that each one of us do every day that we get so used to it, we're numb to the idea of how to do it. Not everybody, but most people in our country do drive. So, I mean, when we go out, if you've been driving for a while, you go out to the driveway, you get in your car, you get in your truck, whatever, you have to touch the brake. After you start it, you hit the brake, you pull the gear shifter down from park into reverse, goes past neutral, and then goes into drive. Or maybe you just pull it down once and you're going to back out of the driveway. Whatever it is, most of us, when we jump in the truck, we don't think about how many steps you have to do to be able to get the vehicle into motion and put it onto the road and actually go. We get numb to the idea. We already know how to do it in our head, so our brain just makes our body do it and all this kind of stuff. So we're used to it. But do you remember when you actually first started driving? The first time you got behind the wheel of a vehicle and had to learn how to drive, and somebody's trying to explain it to you, or maybe you learned on your own, whatever, and you're sitting there and you're looking at that little dot on there that says, okay, park, P is for park, R is reverse, N is neutral, D is drive, all that kind of thing. And, it just becomes numb. Or if you ever had to learn to drive a stick shift, I remember the first stick shift I started driving. I didn't as a kid. This is off topic, but I'm going to tell the story anyways. The first stick shift I ever drove was for the first heat and air company that I ever worked for. I had done install for a couple of years, and one day I came in and they said, well, you're doing service now. And, here's your list of calls. And, here's that little red van out there is yours. And it was this little bitty 1980s something like work van, but it was like a really short one for some reason. I don't know what they call it. Just a short van. And it was a stick shift. And I had never driven a stick shift before. Now, I had used a gear shifter and a clutch on like four-wheelers, motorcycles, stuff like that before, but I'd never actually full-time driven a stick shift. And so that's how I had to learn on. So I got in that thing and killed it 5 or 6 times and finally got it out of the parking lot, and then killed it a couple more times. And eventually I got really used to it. After I did it every day, all day, every day for several days, I got used to doing it. So I didn't think twice about it. But it was really hard when we first had to learn. So one of the things I want to bring up, and like I said, I call it minor because most heat and air guys use the pipe wrench pretty often. These days I do a lot of training. I do more training than I actually do on the road, fixing things sometimes. I still do a little bit of that too, but mostly I do training. And, I get past all those like little simple things. It's like, oh yeah, everybody knows how to use a pipe wrench. Well, stupid. No, not everybody knows how to use a pipe wrench. If you've never had a reason to use a pipe wrench, or you've never, wanted to learn or had to use it or anything like that, you've got no idea how that thing actually functions. I look at it now because I'm used to it. It's like, oh, that's a really simple, easy device. Whatever, you put it on the pipe, you adjust your size, and you go to town. That's because I'm numb to the idea. So today, don't make fun of me for doing something that you may feel is very simple. I have figured out, and especially with doing so much training now, that not everybody knows how to use a pipe wrench. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you have no reason to ever need to know how to use one, then whatever. I mean, it is what it is. You've just never done it. It's kind of like skydiving. I couldn't just go like take a plane ride up and decide, okay, I'm going to jump out now, because I have never done it. So I don't know how to pack the chute and put the thing on and jump out of the plane. It's one of those things. You just haven't ever done it. So today I'm going to show you how to use a pipe wrench. Very simple. It is a simplistic device. They've been around for a long time, and actually the same design. They make different sizes. They make different lengths with different jaws and all this kind of stuff. They make a lot of different ones. This is probably like my favorite one, I'd say. I've got a bunch of different wrenches. This is just a basic aluminum rigid pipe wrench, which I am not sponsored by Rigid. If they'd like to sponsor me, I'd totally take it, because I am a believer in the Rigid stuff. But I'm not sponsored by them, so I'm not telling you this to go buy a Rigid. But I do really like the Rigid brand. This pipe wrench is 20 some years old. I bought it when it was new. It's a 14-inch aluminum. I do recommend if you're going to be turning a wrench all the time, get aluminum ones. Cost a couple bucks more, but well worth it. It's not extremely heavy. This is only a 14-inch pipe wrench, not extremely heavy. But if you do have to turn that wrench, or like you're above your head all day, every day, something like that, just a regular steel wrench is going to get heavy. The aluminum is a little bit lighter, so it gives a little bit of a break on your body. Trust me, after 20 some years or so, you're going to be saying you wish you would have taken better care of your body. That's a fact. If, assuming you're getting into the heat and air trade, or one of the trades that is that way. Most of the trades can potentially be hard on our bodies if we're not careful. But yet I digress. Getting off on all kinds of topics here. Pipe wrench, very simple device. This piece on the side here, that turns one way to make the jaws go wider, the other way to make the jaws go smaller, right? Whenever we're going to size this thing, like let's say I don't have a big pipe, I just have a little bitty pipe here, a little half-inch nipple is what that is. If I've just got a little half-inch pipe, which that goes half-inch, three-quarter, goes to a lot of the gas furnaces and stuff like this. This is what I had laying around. So I grabbed this. Whenever we go to grab that, if we want to tighten it, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully you know that part of it. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Whenever you put that on there, get your size fixed up before you put it on the pipe. If you, let's open this thing way up, and then you try to put that on there, and then you try to tighten it down on there, because of how that head moves, it has movement. I've seen people look at these things and say, oh, that wrench is worn out because it moves too much. No, it is supposed to move that way because a pipe wrench only actually will go work in one direction. We'll get to that in a minute. But whenever you go to size this on that pipe, get it right before you put it on there. So we're gonna open it up just a little bit. Must be out of practice. But once you get that size right, you put it on there, it'll slide on and off with just a little bit of resistance. Because, when you lift up, let's say this pipe is steady. It's not, it's in my hand. But let's say that this pipe is steady. Whenever you slide that on, you should be able to slide it on and off with a little bit of resistance. But whenever you turn, like you're going to turn it one way, it catches on there. And it'll stay on there as long as you want. Because that's how the teeth on there work. You've got little teeth. I don't know if you can see those. Get it to zoom in a little bit. Focus. But see those teeth on there? And that head kind of bounces back and forth. This one is an old wrench, so it could be actually worn out a little bit. But we got a little bit of movement there. So whenever you turn it that way, it's going to bind that, and it's going to catch, and it's going to turn it. So get your size right before you put it on there. And then you can grip and turn righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, right? Just like that. If we want to go the other way, got to turn the pipe around and go this way. Because I see so many people, let's say that you want to, I guess that'd be tightening for me. It looks like loosening for you. But if you want to turn it that way, or if you want to turn it the other way, I see people put it on there, and then they try to move it this way, and they can't figure out why it won't grip the pipe. It's because that's how a pipe wrench is designed. If you want to go that way, you got to turn it around and put it up there and turn that way. Does that make sense? This is actually harder than I thought it would be in the video. I'm trying to watch the screen and be able to get that pipe on there. So either way, they're only in one direction. If you're turning this way and you get it to where you want it and you need to loosen it or go the other direction or whatever, you can't just turn back that way. It's not going to grip it. It'll only turn one way. So you need to go the other way or something along those lines. You got to flip the wrench around. So that is pretty much it to the simplicity of a pipe wrench. I do recommend, which usually, if you are in the HVAC trade, you know that a lot of our tools do stay lubricated. There's a lot of oil and grease and stuff like that on everything. But if this does get, stiff, doesn't want to turn, something like that, put a little oil on it. It'll take it a long ways. Pipe wrenches will, if you take care of it, should last forever. And actually, like the Rigid one that I've got here, again, I am not sponsored by Rigid by any means, but it does have a lifetime warranty. If the thing falls apart, breaks, whatever, they'll give me a new one, as long as I haven't put any major abuse to it. Now, if you put a 3-foot cheater bar on the end of this handle and you break the handle in half, they may or may not, depending on who you're dealing with, they may or may not give you a new one. But either way, that's what it is. So a little bit of grease. If you find an old one, you can clean them up. I've got a 2-foot Rigid pipe wrench out there that I don't know how old it is. I found it was all, the jaws wouldn't move. None of the adjustments would move whatsoever. And I took a wire wheel and a grinder, took all the rust off of it with just a wire wheel, and then greased everything up, and it's like it's brand new. So, a little bit of oil, a little bit of cleanup will go a long ways. We usually end up with pipe dope on them and everything else. You can see mine's a little shiny because actually I took it to a wire wheel too a while back and re-engraved my initials on it. That way everybody knows whose it is. That way nobody steals it, that kind of thing. And then your teeth in there, it's not a bad idea to take a wire brush to them once in a while and clean those teeth out. That way it grips a little better whenever you try to turn it. So that's it. That's the simplicity of a wrench. I know I probably made it go a little bit longer than I needed to, but I like to see 10-minute videos anyways. So if you got any comments, questions, anything like that, hit me up in the comments. Otherwise, I beg you to go ahead and subscribe, share with a friend, all that kind of stuff. If you got somebody getting into the HVAC industry or one of the trades, something like that that's going to need a pipe wrench, send them the video. It doesn't hurt anything. If they want to watch it, well, don't watch it, whatever. But maybe they will. I'll like it, the channel will like it, and they might appreciate it too. So anything else, let me know. Otherwise, thank you and God bless.